Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm your host, TheDividendAristocrat, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my dividend income for the month of August. Now, if you appreciate the transparency and enjoy this type of content, all I ask is that you subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. As a reminder, this is not financial advice, and I'm just merely sharing my opinions on this channel. Now, with that being said, let's start by taking a look at my portfolio dashboard. And I did miss last weekend's upload because I was out of town. I was actually on vacation, and I pre-filmed some videos, but I did not have time to film last Sunday's video. So although a weekend late, we can now take a look at all my portfolio moves for the month of August, including my dividend income. In total, I've invested $53,156 into the portfolio, over $18,000 of which has been this year alone, which is crazy. My portfolio value is sitting at $71,660, and my unrealized gain is sitting at over $18,500, giving me a total return of 34.81%. Now, in terms of dividend income, we're really quickly approaching that $2,000 mark. We're at $1,973 for total dividend earned, and all that has been reinvested back into the holdings that have paid it out. Going forward, I am projected to earn $1,112 per year in yearly dividend income, which gives my portfolio yield a 1.55% yield, or a yield based on my initial cost of 2.09%. Now in total, if you guys have not been keeping up, the portfolio is currently at 21 different holdings, and my cash position is probably a little bit higher than this at around $5,000. Now I'm not in a rush to deploy the rest of my cash. I've already invested very heavily this year, but each month I'm investing $500 into VOO and schd guaranteed. Outside of that, I'm just looking for good opportunities to be deploying my cash into other holdings, individual holdings in this case, like when I was putting a ton of capital into Google and Uber earlier this year. Now, if those opportunities don't present themselves by the end of the year, I'm okay to just continue investing my weekly investment amounts into VOO and schd. Now, coming to the table down here, we can see that this year alone in 2025, I've already earned $554, and we're quickly approaching that $729 mark, and I'm sure we're going to be beating it this year. Now, in comparison, we've already beaten 2023, and there's over 3 months left in the year, so I'm sure we'll be surpassing this number pretty soon. Now, if you want to get an idea of my highest paying dividend stocks in the portfolio, you can just use this graph right here, and you can see that VOO is my largest pair, followed by schd. So without further delay, let's take a look at which companies paid me a dividend this month, and the first one was paid out on August 6th, and that was from Lowe's, ticker symbol LOW. The total order was $2.50. I have a fairly small position. We'll be taking a look at all my positions that paid out dividends in just a little bit, and my reinvestment was 0.011 shares at a price of $2.27 per share. Now, just going down the list, MasterCard paid me 77 cents, Texas Instruments paid me $22.78, which is one of my larger dividends in the portfolio, and Apple paid me $2.37. Now, to wrap up that month, just towards the end of the month, Booz Allen Hamilton paid me $17.80, which is pretty substantial. Now, I do not include this in my dividend income calculations that you guys were looking at before, but the cash that I have on the side, that $4,400 or closer to $5,000 I have sitting in my portfolios, is all in money market funds. Now, those money market funds do pay me a dividend once a month. So in this case, I have VMFXX, that's for my Vanguard account. And I recently started using Fidelity, so I have also SPAXX, and that's their money market fund. I keep track of this on the side just so that I can reference it for videos or for anything else that I might need. But as you can see right here, my Vanguard account paid me $3.04, and my SPAX, my Fidelity account, paid me $18.40. In total, that's about $21 for the quarter, and across the lifetime of my account, it's actually over $875 earned. So my buys for the month were pretty boring, and honestly, that's a pretty good thing. I have been looking to build up my cash position as well as build up my allocations into my ETFs over the next couple months. So all you can see right here is my weekly buys for schd and VOO, just like I was explaining earlier, and I'm basically buying 1 share of schd per week, and I'm also buying $100 of VOO per week. Now, just to look at one example, on the 7th, I bought 1 share of schd at $26.63, and I bought $100 of VOO at a price of $581.08, which bought me a quantity of 0.172 shares. So throughout the month, I was able to buy 4 shares of schd and $400 more of VOO. Now, taking a look at my dividend calendar for 2025, this is where I've been tracking all my dividend income individually by stock and by month, and I really do enjoy this page on the spreadsheet. So as you can see right here for August, we have the total of $46.22 for the month, and it's broken down into each individual stock that paid it out. Now, the beautiful thing about this dividend calendar is that you can see how the dividends are growing over time, and let's take Texas Instruments as an example. Now, this example is not perfect because I believe I added 2 more shares at $140 a couple months ago when the stock price did dip down, but you can still see right here that from February I was getting paid $19.74, then in May $22.61, and then now $22.78, and some of this was from adding those 2 shares, but the rest of it was from reinvesting those dividends. Over time, this dividend income is going to continue compounding and we'll continue tracking it on this spreadsheet for you guys to see. Now in total, this year alone, Texas Instruments has already paid me $65.13, which I'm pretty happy about compared to the smaller dividends that we've seen from MasterCard, which have only amounted to $2.31 so far this year. Now to be fair, my Texas Instruments position is significantly larger, but the dividend yield is also much higher. In terms of my monthly breakdown, this is where I divide it just by months and not by tickers. You can see right here that for the month it was $46.22, which puts me at one of the lower months for the year, but definitely not the lowest month. Overall, the nice thing here that I'm able to track is how much I've invested each month for each year and how much dividends I've received for each month and every year. So for this month, I invested $509.13 and got paid $46.22, which is not too bad at all. And overall, the dividend income is trending upwards over time, though it's pretty sporadic because of my ETF holdings. Now diving into my portfolio holdings section, here we can see my exact positions in the portfolio and exactly how much I hold in this taxable account. So my MasterCard position right now is actually my best performing stock, and I've ordered it here from the best performing to the worst performing in my portfolio. So in the case of MasterCard, I'm up 86%, which puts it substantially above Apple at 77%. Now both of these have been fantastic performers in the portfolio, though they are a bit overvalued at the current moment. Next, we have Lowe's at 45.56%, and the stock price has recently done a bit of a recovery, which has led it to have a larger total return than it did a couple months ago. And then Texas Instruments is up 30.07%, and I'm fairly happy with the position so far. And finally, we can take a look at my worst performing position, Booz Allen Hamilton. It's actually one of my larger positions in the portfolio. I put in over $4,400 in the position, but the current value is only $3,300, and that's because of the 25% negative return I've had on it so far. I purchased the company at a significantly higher price than it's currently trading at, and it's just had a rough time, especially with all the cuts to some of the spending that the government has been doing. For now, I'm going to continue holding on to this position, but I'll definitely be paying attention to their next couple earnings calls and making a decision based on that. Now, I also track my dividend metrics here as well as my allocation. So in terms of dividend earned, the highest one is Texas Instruments, which makes sense, but going forward, it's still paying me $91.78, which is pretty strong. Following that, we have Booz Allen Hamilton at 71.56, and you can see right here that my yield on cost for Booz Allen Hamilton is pretty low compared to its current yield. On the other hand, I was buying Texas Instruments at a much lower price, so my yield on cost is significantly higher at 3.57%. Now in terms of allocation, my two lowest ones are MasterCard and Lowe's at 0.8%, so very small positions in the portfolio, and then we have Apple at 3.1%. And the funny thing about that is at one point Apple was, I believe, my single largest position in the portfolio, and I invested pretty heavily in it once it was dipping down towards that 120 mark a couple years ago. Now at the time, my portfolio was significantly smaller, so the amount that I put in was much lower than I would have been putting in today, and that's why other companies like Texas Instruments and Booz Allen Hamilton have a larger allocation. Now the largest one is Booz Allen Hamilton at 4.7%, but if the stock price does recover to even being flat for the year, it's going to be significantly higher of an allocation than this. Now before we do wrap up this video, let's take a look at my future value calculator and simulate how my portfolio might be performing in the next 10, 20, or even 40 years. And if you guys want to get one of these for free, just check out my Patreon. So my starting principal is my current portfolio value at $71,660, and my annual contribution is what I'm expecting to be putting in each year, which is $12,000 per year, even though this year I put in over $18,000. Going forward, I expect I'll have a lower amount to continue contributing, so that's why we're going to keep it at $12,000 for now. My annual dividend yield is the current portfolio yield at 1.55%, and then the expected dividend increase and price appreciation can be changed however I see fit. So in this case, I think the dividend increase can be a little higher at potentially 6% per year. That would be great, and the price appreciation can definitely be bumped up, let's say to 9% per year. Now, if that holds true, then in 10 years, my portfolio value will be worth $340,000, which is pretty great. Now let's assume you have a longer time horizon, let's say 30 years. In that case, the portfolio value can be worth up to $2.8 million, taking these assumptions into consideration. And now just for fun, we can take a look at what the 40-year time frame would look like. And if you have that much time left to continue investing in this portfolio, then it's going to compound ridiculously. It's going to be worth $7.3 million at the end of year 40. And by that point, you would have earned $454,000 with a dividend income. So I find this tool is a pretty fun one to use, and it's good to help keep you focused on your investing goals. So if you want to check it out, just use the link in the description for my Patreon. As always, that does bring us to the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at my portfolio as a whole and also seeing which moves I made in the portfolio in the month of August, as well as my dividend income for that month. If you did make it all the way to the end of the video, let me know in the comments down below how much dividend income you earned this month. I would love to hear it. If you haven't yet watched last week's video where I did a stock spotlight at one of my highest yielding stocks in the portfolio, check out this video right here. And if you want to see which stocks super investors have been buying, check out this video right here. Remember, the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. I want to thank every single one of you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.